want to know something before I even understand the basics of the functions of how I'm doing it. So the phone is everything. All right. Without the phone, you're not going anywhere. And I know you hear people say it, and you may think, like when I was new, I was like, I wanted to jump the products, like I was saying, and like the products mean nothing if I don't have 30 appointments. My no shows don't mean anything if I don't have 30 appointments. My lack of product knowledge means nothing if I don't have 30 appointments. So I just before we dive into this, I want to just preface with how important this side of the business is. Now, whether what I'm saying is right for you, I'm not sure, but I'm 100% sure it's right for me. And I'm 100% sure it's right for some others. And some people's approach is different. And that's one thing I always like to start trainings, especially when it comes to sales trainings, Jermaine, on this is not the only way. My job is to influence mind shifts and perspective change, give you perspective, so that I think once you start seeing this business clearer, you get the result you want. And I think when you're not getting the result you want, it's pretty foggy. Makes sense? So our job is just to communicate through trainings, perspective, things that can help you clear up your path in this business. All right. But all things, I don't care what script you're using or what approach you're using, 30 appointments drop dead. And you'd be like, well, there's somebody who can run 22. I know they're like really special and really good. You're not. Just like me, I wasn't very good. So I needed 30. Does that make sense? There's no skill in that. There's no skill in just showing up to 30 appointments. All right. So when it comes to the phone, you want to be, first thing you want to do is you want to have enough leads. All right. I'm not going to get too crazy into what you're saying, because I think if your mind ain't right, none of it matters. Okay. So we can talk about, well, what do you say? It doesn't matter, but like, do I have enough leads that's going to allow you to listen to the training? You know what I mean? It's hard to not care when you only bought 20 leads. It's hard to just call people up and tell them you're coming over to the house and be nonchalant and not really care what they say when you bought 20 leads for $400 and it was your last $400. Or with the maybe you have the money and you're hedging your bets. Well, you're not going to respond to the training or the approach, the assumptiveness of the approach, because your deal is you're just trying it out. You won't ever get pissed off and bothered because you could spend 1,000, but you spent 300. But if you would have spent 1,000, you'd be able to really approach it the right way, and you'd have some fear of loss versus $300 in going, thanks, dude, going, well, I hope it works. So I'm just going to hedge. Now I'm going to try this time. And then on my next 300, I'm going to try something different. And then on my next 300, I'm going to try something different. Now you're 21 days in the business, hedging your bets, trying all these different scripts, approaches, and things like that. When if you would have just spent 1,000 the first week, did it the right way, the law of large numbers would have rewarded you, and America would have been paying you in 48 hours. So I want to talk about all those things, Jermaine, because I think that if we don't get our minds wrapped around where we're going and what we're doing and why we're doing it, who cares about what you say on the phone? Who cares about, it doesn't matter. All right. So hopefully that was clear on the I guess mindset, or the way you want to be thinking about this thing. Now, second thing is you want to start early. All right. You want to start early when you're dialing. I know we have this thing about dial days being Mondays and Thursdays. All right. Monday and Thursday dial days are and if those are the only days you dial, that just means you have really good cash flow. That means that on Monday and Thursday, you're booking 20 appointments for every 2 days, or at least 15. All right. That means every Monday, by the time you're done, you got 15 appointments. Every Thursday, when you're done, you got 15 appointments. If that's not you and you're not happy with your cash flow, there's no such thing as a dial day. There's no such thing as, like maybe Mondays and Thursdays are the days that you prioritize. Nothing else ever gets in front of dialing. But your phone ain't going to explode if you dial on Tuesday or Wednesday. or Saturday morning. You know what I mean? Like it's just it just so all those things, Jermaine, that I feel that we're gonna set ourselves up and we're gonna be upset if we think, well, I just dial on Mondays and you got 4 appointments by the end of Monday. I know when I started, there'd be dial days that I'd end up with 4 appointments by the end of the day. But if I only thought that my dial days were Monday and Thursday, and I saw Jermaine booking 20 or 17 on Mondays, I'd feel pretty bad about myself if I didn't have the understanding that that I got to put the work in. Does that make sense? That I was never confused when I started that Sean was going to sell like a madman 2 days a week, but it was going to take me 7. Yeah, I mean, I was never confused with that. So I think when it comes to ramping this thing up to really getting your schedule and your mind state around dialing, Monday and Thursdays are days that you exclusively are dialing. And doesn't mean you can't run some appointments those days either. Just don't put your appointments before your dials. Make sure your dials are done. And then, but if you got to dial Saturday morning, which is a great time to dial, Friday evening, it's a great time to dial, get it done. I promise you, you will be rewarded. Okay. So I implore you to start dialing on other days. Okay. And some of you may be thinking like, well, that's crazy. Why is he? I promise you, when you just never know what folks are thinking. And I know that when I started, they had this thing of dial on Saturdays. And I was like, well, what if I dial on Friday? Is that okay? And Sean was like, yeah, dude. But like, I was like, oh, I just didn't know. So now you know. Start early, start at 7:30. All right, 7:30, no, people are up. And if they pick up the phone, they're up. If they don't pick up the phone, it is what it is. Keep calling them. They'll pick up. There's people who don't pick up the phone at 12. You know, it's not too early. All right, and it's never too late. I typically don't call people past 9 p.m. And that's purely because I got the work in. I've never been that lazy to where I didn't get it done by 9. I'm just going to be real, because that's all that means. Is if you didn't get it done by 9, that means you were just you pissed away the whole day. But I have been pushing it, or scheduling wise, traveling and things like that, to where it's like, dude, I got to get it in. So start early, 7:30. You'll be surprised how many people pick up between 7:30 and 8, and how much of an edge that gives you. All right, you'll see yourself finishing dialing. If you typically start at 8, I don't know, and you're done by 2 or 3. If you start at 7:30, you'll be done by noon. I'm just saying, it just works like that. I don't know. It's like the law of large numbers and the laws of starting early. They work the same, exponential. So they start early and have enough leads. So have enough leads. Have your mind wrapped around right around this. Okay, dial often and start early, and work hard enough to where you're not going crazy late. But if you're going late, you go late. You know what I mean? But I'd say 9 o'clock is a fair time. Some people stop at like 6 or 7. I'm like, for real? Like, I didn't even think about that. But like, keep going. All right. And when's too late? When 2 people tell you, why are you calling me so late? Other than that, it's not too late. Not too late at all. All right. Let me see. The next thing is have an approach that fits you. Okay. Everybody's isn't the same, but I do know it's very assumptive. All right. So I don't call Jermaine up, say, hi, is this Mr. Clifford? I say, hey, Jermaine, or Jermaine, just first name, Jermaine. I'm not saying, is this Jermaine? Hi, is this Jermaine? When you call people up, like when you call your friends, you don't say that. You want to call people, act as if we know them. So if I call Jermaine and the first time, odds are it's going to go to his voicemail. If I call him up and he goes by, I don't know, say maybe his middle name is Andrew. He goes by Andrew, but on the form it says Jermaine. Now I know I know I need to call him Andrew. So I almost hope they don't pick up the first time, especially down south, as many people go by middle names and stuff. Like that gives you an opportunity to listen to it. And if, you know, I think this can get you a lot more familiarity when they pick up the phone. Because all our deal is, you just want people to listen. They want people to not. The reason people say no to you is because they're not really hearing what you're calling about and what you're calling from, because your tone, posture, or however you said their name when you started the conversation, turned them off. They were already in like, oh, hell no mode. So I want to figure out, how do I get them out of hell no mode fast? Or maybe they never get in it. Maybe they're just like, you know, the Jermaine, hello, Jermaine. Yeah, well, you're like, when your clients start going, yeah, they're probably like, yeah, who is this? Like, yeah, it sounds like they know me. Like this, they're interested. Hey, this is Dom with the Benefit Center right here in Atlanta, getting back to you about the request you made about the insurance. I'm the guy who's going to get you the quote and see if you qualify. You're over there off 1211 Main Street, right? Yeah, that's me. How are they going to say it's not you? A lot of folks don't book appointments well before they get to that part. They get interrupted at the beginning. They are repeating themselves about where they are, where they're from, what they're calling about. And I'm not interested. You get a whole lot of that. And it's all because your initial, how you're saying their name, how you're your elevator on the phone, as salespeople and Mark Mead would call it. I learned that. I was listening to a training he did the other day. He was like, yeah, what's your elevator pitch? I was like, dude, I have no, what is he talking about? And he goes, dude, it's what you do. It's like when you're setting them up. I was like, oh God, I just call them up, tell them to come to the house. That's what it turned into. I guess it was elevator pitch, but that's it. You know, so so you want to be able to acknowledge who's first name, acknowledge who you are, okay, who you're getting back to them. So it's their first name, so it's Jermaine, and then I'm getting back to you. 100% of the time, I'm getting back to you, okay, about the inquiry you made about the life insurance, about the form you sent back to us about the life insurance, about the mortgage protection form you sent back to us that pays your house off in the event you die. See, all the scripts are the same. It's just a matter of who you're calling from, what you're calling about. And you need to be very specific with what you're calling about, and not wordy, but specific. I'm calling about the little pink postcard you sent back to us about your mortgage protection. Like, we got those 250 leads in the CRM right now. $2.50. Okay. Those are on postcards. And they're probably pink, blue, yellow, some bright color. So when you call those leads up, you're more apt to get a response when you go, yeah, I'm giving you a shout back about that little pink, blue, little postcard thing that you sent back to us about the mortgage protection, versus, hey, I'm calling you back about the form about the mortgage protection. You see the difference on how they may be, even if they don't remember, they're like, I do remember something pink. Yeah, the way he's describing it to me, it's too clear. Why wouldn't I be almost foolish if I didn't remember it the way he's describing it to me? Yeah, I remember that. And now I'm in. Now I'm booking the appointment because I believe that they did it. See, we're not coursing people. See, I'm 100% sure Mary filled this form out, regardless of when she did it or if she remembered it. It's her handwriting. It's their info. I don't need I don't need them to confirm with me that they did it to make me believe it. I'm just going to assume it like crazy through my tonality, my posture, the way I'm saying their name, the way I'm moving my tempo. And then it works. So I don't want to get too far off into that. I want to open it up for some questions. And then I got to roll here in a couple minutes. So Jermaine, I didn't see anything in the chat or nothing like that, but I'm on my phone, so it might be kind of messed up, dude. So let me know.
I'm watching the chat myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And I know, one of the things too, talk about, obviously not everybody's near an office, but, being able to be a part of work spots and getting the lead discount and then being able to get into an office. And then when you are in the office, on a dial day, what's that like, and what your focus should be?
Dude, it's everything. If you don't have an office near you, there's one coming with work spots. And if you do have an office near you and you're choosing not to go, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. And the reason is you're going to get around people who are doing what you want to do. You're going to learn from folks. It's just something about, I'm a sports guy, so I didn't need somebody to really explain this to me. It was like, how am I going to know the plays if I don't go to practice? How am I going to be as good as the other players if I only take batting practice at my house? That would be weird to me. So when I came into this business, I was never confused on that, dude, if you want to be an all-star, you better get around all-stars. If you don't want to have success, well, stay at your house where there's no success. Does that make sense? Like, well, it's 3 hours away. Okay, I'm not saying go every Monday and Thursday, but I would, but let's just be honest about ourselves. If you had to drive 12 hours a week to ensure that you made 10 grand a week, would you do it? If it was that sure, you'd be like, hell yeah. But it is that sure. So I can say, nah, you know, but let's just be, I remember I started winning when I started to fly up to Connecticut. I started to fly, I was at a 55% comp. I started flying up to Connecticut once a month so that I could be around the heat when I started. And then I said, I'm going to make that heat at my office. You know what I mean? And to this day, like Zoom live dials, that started because I didn't have a lot of people at my office when I hit the field. And I was like, dude, I need to be around some people. And I started getting on Zoom live dials just for that reason. It wasn't to teach, it was to take. I get around people to dial so that I perform better, so that I get done faster. Because by myself, it's lonely, it sucks, I'll quit. I used to get on Facebook Live and dial purely. People are like, why do you get on Facebook Live? Thank you so much for all the training. I'm like, dude, I get on Facebook Live so I don't punk out of my dial session.
Yeah.
That's why I get on Facebook, because you can watch the same one from yesterday. It's the same dials, dude. It's nothing too crazy. Like, it's recorded. It's on Facebook forever.
Yeah.
So it's not about teaching. It's about accountability. It's I know if I don't get on Facebook Live and when I'm by myself, or if I don't get on Zoom, bro, let 3 people tell me no. I'm gonna start thinking it's the leads too. I'm gonna start thinking it's a bad time too. I'm not immune from that stuff. So when I get around people and see other people grinding it out, when I see a Easton killing, I see Jermaine doing his thing, I see you just rise up and you just start doing it, man. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's what I could say with that, dude. And like, if you're not on work spot, you're not using it, I would say get after it. You know?
100%. We got another question here real quick. About someone's asking about you know, how you dial your leads throughout the dial session. Are you taking them into groups, breaking them down? How many times are you dialing? Any tips you have there as far as strategy wise with, you know, if you got, let's say you got 80, 100 leads?
Yeah, man. I'd say take out about 20. No, don't dial any more than 20, 30 leads at a time. I wouldn't do that. Some people do and have success. Like, I mean, a lot of people do and have success. And remember, this is just what I do, because I'm old school. I like to dial manually. I don't like to use phone burner. I just don't. Like, I'd just rather dial the leads myself and take 20 or 30 of them out at a time and bang them out. But some people have a problem with hitting send a bunch of times. So phone burner helps those people, but I don't care. I'll just hit it. Boom, boom, boom. But some people like phone burner to hit the button for them. It is what it is. Whatever allows you to call people like a madman or woman, do it. You know what I mean? So I like 20 or 30 out at a time and bang those up until I get half of them to pick up. And then after half of them pick up, I'll pick up another 20 and do the same thing.
Okay.
You'll find yourself crazy effective. Your excuse. The reason I found that out is that I was getting tired of people not picking up. My whole dial day was full of people not picking up the phone, and I was frustrated about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just stop calling so many damn leads at one time, take a few of them out, get those fools to pick up, and then carry on and see how that works. Yeah. And then you'll find you out of 20, 30 leads, dude, you'll call them all within maybe an hour. I'd say if you take 20 leads, it'll take you about 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get them all to pick up. And you may call them all. By the time you're done, by the time you get to half, you may have called them 10 to 12 times within an hour. And I bet you nobody on this call is doing that. And I bet you your skin just curled when I said it. And I promise you, they're not going to fight you. They're not going to bite you. They're not going to tell you not to come over. You're not going to ruin the lead. You're not going to do any of that. I promise you. And do this. Try it on the $2.50 mortgage leads and tell me if it don't work. And I'll reimburse you the leads that you spent if you feel you wasted the leads. My email is dom@fflgoldenstate.com. I promise you. Go buy you some. Remember, I'm not saying you're going to book them. I'm just saying they're not going to be pissed off and you're going to get them to pick up the phone. It's up to you to book them. But I promise you, they won't be pissed off and they will pick up the phone. Now, my dude, hey, I got to roll, brother. I got to hit back in this.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking some time out. Get in there. And we got your other training that you did on Zoom. Appreciate you.
Later, fellas.
All right. Awesome, guys. I hope, we've got 52 people plus everybody in South Florida on this call. I hope you guys got a lot out of that. Hey, Lamar, good to see you on here. And that is the key area that I see that agents don't see the results, right? And I have this conversation with agents all the time. Well, I got some leads, but nobody's answering. And I promise you, it's our mindset on calling the leads enough. If we were to sit down and dial the leads enough, I promise you they would pick up. Because if you call somebody 10, 12 times in an hour, hour and a half, they're going to answer the phone. Now, whether you book it or not, I can't promise you that, but I can guarantee you they're going to pick up and give you an opportunity to at least see what's up. And if they're mad at you, so what? But most likely they won't be once you explain why you're calling. So I wanted you guys to hear that from Dom, because he's one of the best at doing it. You guys could go to YouTube. We actually have him as one of our dial-in videos on the Knowledge Library. But I wanted you to hear it from him directly. And you could go to YouTube, look up his name, Dominique Rodgers, and watch some of his training videos to get some more of that. But at the end of the day, this is the one area where most agents either succeed or fail in our business. And it's on the phones. Like this business is won on the phones. And so the better we can all get at the phones, the more successful we all can become. Because the old cliche that we used to say is, hey man, if you had 10 appointments scheduled tomorrow, would you show up? And everybody in the room raises their hands like, of course. So the only challenge is getting 10 appointments on the schedule, right? And this is how you do it. You got to get good at the phone. It's uncomfortable. It takes work. It's sitting down, focused, dialing people multiple times, but be able to do that, and you get better over time. So I had a couple extra questions in here in the chat that I'll answer, and then we could wrap this up if nobody else has questions. Joshua says, how many of those age final expense leads should we get for a dial session? Every dial session, you want to have 60 to 100 leads. So when you think about this, and I did a training one time where I talked about, the mentality of having just enough or having more than enough, right? And so, do you want to have, if I was to say to you, for every time you hit the baseball, or every basket that you sink, right? If you're shooting basketball, I'll give you $1,000. Okay. Do you want to only have 10 shots? Okay. Or would you rather 100 shots? Okay. You're going to get $1,000 for every one you sink in. You just want 10 shots, or do you want 100 shots? Right? You want 100 shots because you want to be able to sink in as many as possible and make, $1,000 for every one. Same thing with leads. And I think if we can, as an agency, and just as not even just as an agency, but as independent business owners, life insurance, independent brokers, if we can change our mindset that we need to give ourselves enough opportunities to be able to, sink a basket and get that $1,000, then that question answers itself. How many of those final expense leads do you want to have? As many as you can afford. Because you're going to make your money back if you call them enough, get enough people on the phone, you're able to book enough appointments. Now, if you're looking for a drop dead number, like I was telling Shavana, who was in the office today dialing, 60 is a minimum number of leads that you want to come into a dial session with. 100 is way better. That positions you to be able to have plenty of opportunities to dial. And then we had another question. I see, Mari, you have your hand raised. Hold on one second, I'll come to you. Kim asked, when you're calling someone from a different state, what's the best approach? There's no difference. You just, whatever their county is, I'm always letting them know I'm local, even if I'm from a different state, because I'm going to be traveling and I'll be local when I go meet with them. So I just let them know, hey, I'm giving you a call here locally from whatever county they're in. Even though it's a different phone number, I'm your local underwriter here in, Fulton County. So I don't change my script in any way. Now, at the end, if I'm tying down the appointment, I might tell them, hey, I'm coming in from Georgia, so I won't have a lot of time. I want to make sure you're going to be home. And that way I can help tie down the appointment and increase the chance that they'll make sure they don't no-show me. But that's the only thing I would do different, but I'm still saying I'm local. Mari, you have a question you want to unmute and ask, or type it in the chat, whichever.
Yeah. So it's not really a question. It's more, well, can you guys hear me? So
Yeah,
what?
I can hear you.
Because
Go
I have
ahead.
a mic. Okay. So I just wanted to make a little quick statement. So I'm new, but I haven't written anything yet, just for myself. And I just wanted to say that everything that Dom was talking about and just getting on the calls and stuff, it's like I'm realizing everything like as I go through it, like I'm just going through the motions. Being let down and rejected. And he said something about like buying $300 worth of leads when you should have bought like $1,000 worth of leads. Like as he said, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I'm realizing all of this stuff, and it's very, very true what everybody's saying. And I don't know. It's just very true, and I'm just realizing it. And facing the rejection, it is kind of annoying, but that's not letting me down. I'm just, striving forward. And I really do appreciate him being on here because, it's just more, I don't know, it's good for me because this is the same type of things that's going on in my mind, you know.
Yeah.
Just wondering things and like, am I doing it right, or what's the best strategy for things? And it's all just coming together. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I appreciate you
And
sharing
these
that.
yeah.
And let's put it into action, right? And you made a very good point. I think sometimes, and I'll take the responsibility for that if it's not communicated clearly enough. But I think there's plenty of training videos out there that do communicate it. But we're going to clarify right now with everyone that's on the call. It's that purchasing just $200 or $300 in leads. If you're looking to really make an income from this business as an independent contractor, $200, $300 alone in leads is not going to help you. And I'm going to be honest with you. So you now have to decide, okay, yep, I'm hearing this now. What am I going to do with this information, right? Realistically, you want to have $1,000 if you're brand new, and I'm talking to the new folks that we have on this call, or anybody that's on this call that's not seeing the results that they want to see. You're going to need about $1,000 to invest in leads to be able to get you enough leads between the internet life leads and these age, final expense, or mortgage leads that we now have available to be able to have enough opportunities to be able to get better on the phone, dial through, get enough people to answer, get enough people to book appointments, so that way you could go out and make 4 or 5 times that investment that you put in. So if you haven't realized that before, here's your day of reckoning, and now you get to decide what to do with that information. That's, again, in addition to being a little bit anxious about the phones, I also see that agents are anxious about investing in leads. If you're going to work your leads, it's never a waste of money. It's an investment that you're going to recoup once you work efficiently, like Dom was talking about. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Marie, and I'm glad that it's sinking in now. Now let's put that into action. Our goal for everybody on this call is to take this information and then get into the CRM, get some leads, or get on the phones with the leads that you already have, dial them efficiently to be able to get the appointments you need. Keith had a question: when dialing, how do you ask for a person when someone else answers the phone and they're asking lots of questions? So if someone else answers the phone, so let's say I'm calling a lead that says Keith Campbell, right? And if it's a female if it's a guy that answers, I'm assuming it's Keith. And I'm saying, hey, Keith, okay, and it's either gonna be a yeah or a no, this isn't Keith. And then I'll say, oh, this is Jermaine. I introduce myself first. If it's not the person, and I said, hey, I'm trying to get in touch with Keith. Is he available? It's that simple. Now, if it's a female that answers and the lead says Keith Campbell, I'm gonna assume it's Mrs. Campbell. And I'm gonna say, hey, Mrs. Campbell. And she's gonna either say, yeah, who's this? Or she's gonna say no. And then I'll go back into, if she says no, I'll say, okay, yeah, this is Jermaine. I'm looking for Keith. And if she says, yeah, this is Mrs. Campbell, I say, hey, Mrs. Campbell, it's Jermaine. Keith filled out a form. And I go into my phone script and I say, should I be booking this appointment with you or with him? So I'm always assumptive from that standpoint, no matter who answers the phone. It's going to be Keith or it's going to be his wife. And if it's not, they'll tell me, and then I'll ask for that person or how I can get in touch with them, or what's the best time to give them a call back. All right, anybody else? All right, good guys.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Oh yeah, and I would like to add, to that, we gotta resolve the leads. You call these people, you don't get them. So most people won't answer the phones. Some of these are landline numbers. You understand? So with that being said, the phone is just gonna continue to ring, stuff like that. Sometimes, it's an incorrect number, you understand? You can through people search it and stuff like that. You just gotta operate like an agent, and not just like somebody that's getting by. You understand? It's your business, so resolving 100% of the lead, because like, from a personal experience, I can guarantee that if you buy, for example, like 100 leads, and like you just make a commitment to yourself that you're gonna resolve every last one. There's no way on earth you won't make a sale. So just folks, just make sure you're resolving every lead possible. If you don't get your ROI. All right, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Including door including text messages and everything. Yeah, Liz.
I was just going to say this. I know I'm just part-time, but for the people that are getting started, if they don't have $1,000 to start with, they only have 2 or 3. One possibility would be to write a policy on yourself and make sure you've got that one commission check coming in within the next few days, and have a mindset: when I get this commission check, that's my lead money. That's my startup money. Just kind of thought.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And that's why we talk about that on the new agent orientation, about being able to write your own policy with Mutual of Omaha. They'll advance you your full 75% commission, and you can add that on to whatever you have to be able to make sure you get enough leads. But, minimum 500, 1,000 is kind of the sweet spot. And I say 1,000 because that will get you 100 instant internet life leads. Now, if it's new internet or 1 month old, you could get 100 with less. But you really want to have, when you're getting started, 20, 30 leads it's not going to cut it. You need to have closer to 100 leads to be able to, kind of practice and get better. So you want to position yourself in that route to be able to have that many. Go ahead, Janice.
I just feel like what Agent Barnett said is like so crucial, because I personally invested about $1,600 in leads. And I am at a stage where I was feeling like I wasted my money, literally, because I got just one tiny policy out of it. And I'm thinking, I call these people, I call them, and I'm repeatedly calling them. And then there is like, in terms of people who've literally answered the phone, it's just about 10%, I'd say. And the rest of it, I'm like, but I like what he said about resolving, about door knocking if you have to, possibly calling people multiple times and just grinding and keep calling over and over, because the leads I bought were pretty expensive. So I don't have like a whole big list to call from. Perhaps I should have sought some more advice, because one of the mistakes I made, and I'm saying that so that if there are new agents, they would benefit from that as well. I invested in the internet leads on the CRM, and I actually thought it was final expense, only to realize later that it was just general life insurance leads, and there are younger people who really don't seem to not care. So I don't know. So yeah, I think this meeting is very instructive, and like I say, my goal now is to resolve as many as I can to get some more out of that. After all, $1,500 to $1,700 doesn't come fall off trees, so I have to keep grinding with those.
Yeah.
So Janice,
say to that is that, one, you want to also, if you're dialing your leads, right, and you're not seeing the results you want to, one of the things you might want to do is either get in an office with one of the sales managers, so that way they can hear what you're saying, Because if you've got that many leads and you're not booking enough appointments, then there's something that you have to adjust. And that's one of the key things with this business as well, right? That's helped all of anyone that's successful is realizing, okay, it's something that I need to adjust that to be able to get the results. So you can get into an office with one of the sales managers, whether in Palm Beach where you are, or here in Atlanta, or record yourself dialing and shoot it to your sales manager so that way they can hear and critique. Always be, and this is for everybody, Janice, not just to you, and I'm glad you talked about this because it brings up this point. Always be open to I guess be vulnerable, I guess is the way to say it, because some people are shy, like, oh, I don't want anybody hear me, No, if you're going to be successful, guys, we're doing this for our families, right? This is how we're making a living. So throw all the fear and the nervousness about somebody hearing you out the window, and this is how you provide for your family. Be willing to be open and be vulnerable to say, you know what, let me record myself, dialing for 30 minutes or so or an hour, and let me shoot this to my sales manager so they can listen to what I'm saying, be able to provide me some critique. Make sure that you guys are hopping on the live dials and listening to those, or going back to the Facebook group and watching the live dials and adjusting your script, and be willing to sit down and listen to those live dials and say, okay, what am I doing different? What am I saying different that what's Gio saying that's different than what I'm saying on this live dial, or Chris or Jermaine, and make the necessary adjustments. And then also going back to the strategy, when you have a bunch of leads, it's so easy to get into the mindset that, okay, I'm going to dial through all of these, but it's so vital to break it down and take 30 of them, like Dom was saying, and then dialing through those enough to get people to answer the phone. Because one of the things you mentioned, Janice, you said about 10% of them you haven't been able, or you've only been able to speak to about 10% of them, which means that the rest of them haven't picked up the phone. Some of them might have been because it's a wrong number or whatever the case may be, but I'm sure those other 90%, we could probably get 70% of them to pick up the phone by just kind of concentrating our efforts and just kind of hammering down on those folks. And it is uncomfortable. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're looking to be comfortable and be successful, this business is not for you. I'm just gonna shoot you straight, because I'd hate for you to be here thinking that I can do this and be comfortable and be successful, and 3 months down the road, you haven't made any money, and then you're mad at me or anybody else that's helping you. You are gonna have to be uncomfortable in this, and this is for everybody. It's uncomfortable to dial somebody 5 to 6 times in the same hour when they haven't picked up. Very uncomfortable, but nothing good happens in your comfort zone. The more successful people are successful because they are putting themselves in an uncomfortable position, and that's where success happens, right? And so what you'll have to do with those leads, Janice, is you got to set your schedule, whatever your dial time is, break those down, take 30 of them, and hey, I'm gonna call these people until they pick up. I normally dial 2-3 times in a row, and then I'll move to the next lead, and then I go through 30 of them, and then I'll flip them over, and I'll go through again 2 to 3 times. So they're seeing my phone number 4 to 6 times in the same hour. They're gonna pick up the phone. And then I'll move to the next group of 30, and I'll do the same thing until I'm done with my whole group, and then I'll go back to it. And sometimes it might be, hey, you might have to dial all day, but make sure you're actually dialing all day and not, doing other things that might get you distracted, and you've only put in 2 hours of dialing, but you've been in the office all day, or wherever environment. So, but there's plenty of opportunities in those leads, even no matter when you purchase them. I booked an appointment today with somebody, a lead that I bought 3 weeks ago. They finally answered after I called them multiple times today. So make sure you maximize that, including your door knocks, as well as leaving voice message. There's no method to the madness. I think there was another question about when do you text, when do you voice message. I try to call and get people to pick up the phone. That's my first priority. Now, if I've been calling them a couple of weeks, they haven't answered, then I'll leave a voice message. If I have time and I haven't booked up my schedule, then I might send a text message. But the key is, it's going to take a lot of work. And so I want to make sure you understand that, and you have to be in a position where you're uncomfortable. And it's only for a period of time, because after a while you do something that's uncomfortable, it becomes comfortable. Just like working out. Initially it's uncomfortable, then you get used to the habit of working out. So make sure I wanted to make sure we had this call because I want to make sure that everybody that's working with us knows what it takes to be successful. Go ahead, Yvonne.
When do you stop trying to reach the leads? When do you stop utilizing the list that you
When
have?
it's resolved, when they've told me, no, I'm not interested, don't ever call me again, or come on over and help me. I keep my leads on.
Great answer.
And real quick for anybody that's door knocking, like for Janice and anybody else, quick tips on door knocking. You want to make sure you get like an app like a Road Warrior, where you can actually load multiple addresses and you can optimize it based on the location. So you're not driving across, a county like a mad person. You actually strategize in, your route in a timely fashion. Another thing is that, when you pull up there, you knock on the door, be assumptive. Hey, you're John. Hey, John. No, not your John, but hey, John. Hey, John. So this is Christopher Barrett. I'm a local field underwriter. My office, you have submit a request here for some coverage on life insurance. You just send me out here to help you out. Is your birthday June 15, 1996? And then it's like, and then, okay, perfect. You have somewhere we can sit. Just be assumptive. I've been so assumptive before where I've even end up in somebody's house, and it was even the wrong address, but that's what assumptiveness does, So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. And then, the benefit of getting into the office, I'll say this, and then we could wrap up. One of the benefits of getting into the office, I see you, Gio, I'll let you get a chance here, is being able to be in that environment where there's other people doing the same thing and it helps hold you accountable. I mean, it's as simple as if it's a lot easier to work out in the gym than it is at home because you're tempted to, not push yourself as hard as you should. But when you're in the gym, you see other people doing the same thing, you push yourself a little bit more. And so when we're in that environment, like you guys see South Florida, there's a bunch of people in the office, all in the same environment. Make sure that, you're there and you're there to work. And it's not the time to call the carriers or, chit chat on, what's going on, in your life or what you're doing on the weekend. This is work time and everybody's there to work. This is where our money is made. So whenever you're in an office, whether it's one of ours, the Atlanta office or the Palm Beach office or any other Family First Life office, then make sure that you respect everyone's time and also that environment and that you're there and you're dialing. If you have a sidebar conversation, take that out of the dialing room and, have that conversation, but make sure you focus in on that time that you have to dial and that you're not interrupting the flow of the dial day, from anything but dialing. That's why we're there and make sure we're doing that. Gio, you were going to say something?
Hey, Jermaine, it's me.
Yeah, go ahead, Jita.
How are you? I want to say, I see that there have some sample on the library knowledge for the phone script. Can you upload more so we can learn from more success people to the phone script so we can print out
phone script videos? You mean?
No, the paper we can print out. Can you upload more so for the other people who have whatever they have, so we can print out?
Yeah, the phone scripts I know we have 2 Internet Life Lead phone scripts in the Knowledge Library. You have mine and one from Easton Patton, and then there's a couple other mortgage protection phone scripts. Those are the only ones we have access to, Jintao. So those are the ones, but those really serve as kind of like a skeleton that you build on. They give you the basic idea, and then as you read through those, you could kind of structure based on your personality, how you say things, what you want to say, but it gives you kind of the main points of the phone scripts, if that's what you're asking. Now, there is no other one that we have access to.
For my English, I wanted to have more samples so I can just copy them. So if you can upload more, that would be better to we can print out. Or you can just send to me if you have.
But you still talking about the phone scripts. Am I hearing her correctly? Because it sounds like you're a little bit far away from me.
Yeah, the phone script for the black and white, for the text, not the video. So that I can print it by paper.
Okay.
By writing.
Yeah, the ones on the knowledge library, the only ones we have. So anything else that you want, you'd have to just customize it based on what you feel, more comfortable saying on the phone. And then you could just type that one up. But the ones that are on the knowledge library, basically everything we have access to is what's on the knowledge library, if that's what you're asking me. Is that what she's asking, Gio? Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I have sent her some also on the email. So just use the one that I've sent you.
Yeah. And resend, but those are the only ones we have, Gentile. So just customize them, and they have the foundation of what you need, and then you could just customize them if there's anything you feel like you want to say differently. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you guys hopping on. Hopefully this was helpful. It's recorded. We're going to post it on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page as well. You have access to all the phone scripts in the knowledge library and the other phone training videos. So make sure you take full advantage of that. But this is one of the areas that agents get hung up on, no pun intended, but just mentally from taking action. You're not going to get any better without doing it. So you're going to mess it up, but this will give you the basics you need to be able to jump in. And a lot of it is just taking action, guys, in this business. You're not going to be comfortable, but by doing it, you get better at it. And this is where you succeed in this business. So appreciate you guys. Feel free to hop on our new agent orientation call every Thursdays at 8 p.m. It's for new agents, but current agents can hop on as well. And if you have any questions, reach out to any of the sales managers, and we're here to help you. So thank you guys for hopping on. Enjoy the rest of your dial day. Let's make it a big week. Bye.